Welcome back, everyone, to the Michigan Trails Report podcast. It is February 2026. Welcome. I'm your host, Tom Funk. If you're new here or have recently been buried in an avalanche of snow cleaning off your roof, I am the author of 50 Hikes in Michigan's Upper Peninsula and 50 Hikes on the North Country Trail. I'm also a group moderator, expert, professional buzzkill on many of your Michigan Facebook hiking pages. And if you go over to the Trek this morning, you'll see I rabble-roused there as well. And once a month, we talk about the current status of Michigan trails, trail magic, hiker trash, and even give you a heads up on trail conditions and the ever-evolving personality disorders of the reservation systems like Recreation.gov, my absolute least favorite. And the rest of the month, I'll typically post a chapter for one of my books or give you a travel narrative for one of my hikes. I'll share the details of a historical trail, and every once in a while, I'll publish the biography of a famous outdoors person from the Great Lakes, or someone who's passed through here and quietly changed the course of history. Anyways, go over to the table of contents, gobs of content. There's like 200 plus podcasts over there. And as usual, I'd like to thank our sponsor, the Hiker Hostel in Germfask. The Upper Peninsula's only hostel will open full-time in 2026. Catering to outdoor enthusiasts, they will cater to North Country Trail backpackers. Oh, that's cool. Check out their website, hikerhostelgermfask.com. And thanks to my friend Adam Main for providing today's bumper music. And with that, let's see if I can get this to work. And you know, every month I have this problem. And while I'm doing this, hey, next month I may have a huge announcement. So stay tuned. Make sure to come back next month. It'll be like the biggest announcement ever on the podcast. So with that, Trail of the Month. And as always, we kick off every podcast with the Trail of the Month. It is February, which means snowbanks, salt, and sidewalks, so it's time for another, well, why not, a hike in a national forest. So, just south of Munising, tucked into the hardwood hills of Michigan's Upper Peninsula, lies Spur, well, actually, no, it's called Valley Spur. Valley Spur. And, it just kind of sits there and waits for you to come on over. Now, in the summer months, it's really not used all that much except for a stretch of the North Country Trail that goes through it, because Valley Spur is known as a ski area, and it's lying in a glacial valley, so you got a lot of hills and such there, and it's a really cool place to ski. It's got, gentle slopes, it's got winding lowlands and forests, and it's a pretty cool experience. So it is a Nordic skier's paradise, and locals will tell you some of the best cross-country skiing in the Midwest, with miles of groomed trails threading through, the forests there. So, but once the snow melts, the place doesn't go quiet. Like I said, it's still used by hikers and trail runners, mountain bikers, and the like, just not as much as it is in the wintertime. So, what really sets it apart, though, is it's really close to Pictured Rocks. It's just down the road from Munising. But it feels worlds away because you don't have the crowds there. There's no spectacles, no rangers looking for you to write you a ticket, none of that stuff there. So, hey, this reminds us of every place that you can visit. Not every single one needs a postcard view. Hey, this is a great place to go. I encourage you to check it out. It is part of the Hiawatha National Forest. All right, let's do some trail updates. Hey, if you were too hungover to listen to January's podcast, you may have missed this important update. And following all the unprecedented March 2025 ice storm shenanigans in northern Michigan, all state parks, all boating access states, all state forest campgrounds, and all the DNR-managed motorized and non-motorized trails, I fully opened. Cleanup does continue in some scattered locations, but access is now restored. So that is awesome. Some new trail closures and some new campground closures and significant updates. And there's quite a few of them this month. I think it's because funding rolled in or something, because they keep referencing money, grant money that they received to do these projects. But here we go. Clear Lake State Park Campground temporarily closed through late June. Fort Wilkins, not Fort Custer in Battle Creek, Kalamazoo, Fort Wilkins in Copper Harbor. That's a whole story upon itself, I'll tell you someday. The East Loop is temporarily closed through early July of 2026. Hartwick Pine State Park Visitor Center is now open weekends, through April 2026. Now, the kicker is the Sable Trail section is now listed as closed indefinitely, no timeline, no plans at all to reopen, which is kind of sad because that's a really cool hike. Heft State Park's Modern Campground and Lodge closed through June. The Lake Gogebic State Park's Modern Campground and Cabins are now closed through July 20th, 2026. Orchard Beach State Park campground day use area is closed. However, the trails remain open. They're on the other side of the road, and there's parking over there, so you're able to access those. Pontiac Lake Recreation Modern Campground closed through August. Opening date projected September 1st, 2026. Another little favorite park of mine, Sleepy Hollow State Park Modern Campground shelters are now closed through June 1st, 2026. Sterling State Park's Marsh and River Raisin Heritage Connector Trail, which is a really cool trail. You got to check that one out. They're paving a 40-foot railroad crossing to take place in 2026, so there's some trail detours and such in there. All right, some good news. Brighton Recreation Area's Bishop Lake Modern Campground, they're going to reopen sometime between May 21st and July 2nd. Hey, love that window there, don't you? That's government for you. Anyways, if you want the government details and maybe get some government cheese, head on over to michigan.gov/DNR, go to the About tab, and click on their newsroom and look for the closers there. For North Country Trail, we are skipping our long-term closures. You can go over to the website and check those out. I just kind of hit the new ones, so they're not really a surprise. Only one section of the North Country Trail remains closed due to the March ice storm, and that segment lies between Kip and Valley Roads up by Petoskey, and there is a marked detour, so you can hike and get around it. In the Upper Peninsula, however, Copper Peak Road between Black River Road is closed due to construction of the Copper Peak Phase 1 project, and there is a detour there. And for those asking about day hikes in Pictured Rocks, yes, technically possible, but only a couple of points like, at Sandpoint or Woodland Park in Grand Marais. And hey, if you've been paying attention to TikTok or Facebook, you probably noticed that influencers Josh and Jace tried and failed to visit the Pictured Rocks. It was kind of humorous. So there you go for the trail reports that are taking place in February. Well, that wasn't the rim shot. But anyway, snow report. As you look out your window, you see snow. If you live in the Keweenaw, you see lots of snow. 6 feet deep in places. The northwest part of the Lower Peninsula, guess what? A butt ton of snow too. The least amount of snow is in the Saginaw Bay area. The entire east side of the Lower Peninsula basically has less than a foot of snow. And as always, my friendly reminder, you can check real-time snow depth using the National Operational Hydrological Remote Sensing Center mapping program. It's accurate, it's powerful, has a user interface of a 1998 fax machine, but it does work once you get used to it, and that's why I made a tutorial on my YouTube page. I also post screenshots about once a week maybe, for those who don't want to wrestle with the government inefficiency, and check that out. I see gobs and gobs of people going, what's the snow like here? What's the snow like here? And they just don't know about this resource, so maybe tell them about it next time. And say, hey, check out this resource, and you can get a really good look down to a granular level. I think it goes down to about 0.2 of a mile to 0.2 of a mile blocks, which is pretty good. So check out that resource. Get out there and enjoy the snow. I was sick quite a bit over the Christmas and New Year's, and while stationed comfortably in my lazy boy writing the January podcast, I also resurrected my Substack. And in doing so, holy smokes, folks, seems like I have a lot of content I could share with y'all. So I'm posting previously written articles, and I'm putting updates to my 2 guidebooks, and of course an editorial too, and a bunch of other non-hiking content, because I do lots of other things besides hike and rabble-rouse about hiking. But anyways, a recent post was the good, the bad, and the ugly history of the Ott Biological Preserve. Now, I'm not going to read the whole dang thing here. It's really its own podcast. But in a nutshell, the Ott Preserve in Calhoun County, it's a classic example of when the original intent of the property isn't protected through a deed restriction, and the new owners do whatever the hell they please with the property. And the name of the Substack is Tom's Worldly Adventures. You can do @ThomasFunk to find it. I post these articles on occasion over at the Facebook page, so please check that out. Subscribe. It's free. It won't cost you anything, and it won't leave a mark either. But eventually, I'm probably going to get the paid content. For those that pay, they'll get trail updates out of my books and maybe some content that may actually be valuable. So there you go. Go over there and check it out. It'll be a while before I turn on subscriptions, and there will always be free content over there. Hiker trash. So Tara Atkinson has hiked the entirety of 6 national scenic trails, is currently working on the North Country Trail as lucky number 7. And so far, she has completed Vermont, New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, logging over 2,000 unique miles. This is a quote from her. One thing I have learned on my hikes is that while walking on actual trail in remote places, you get to see the country, but when road walking, you get to understand the culture of a place. Boy, I can say that is true. She continues, this trail covers some beautiful country, but I think I will remember the culture and the kind people I met along the way the most. That is kind of cool. So she's our hiker trash of the month. We have a big announcement from the North Country Trail. Andrea Ketchmark, she is leaving the North Country Trail as its executive director and taking a position as CEO of the Public Lands Alliance. So, hey, for you career ladder climbers, that may be a position that should be open here pretty quick. And no, that doesn't relate to the big announcement that's coming up. So, yeah, just saying. And North Country Trail 100, we have 3 people already that have done 100 miles. We have Amber Strauss and Kevin May. No clue where they did it, and but it did look like Michigan. And a lady named Sally, she is member of the Trail Tramps. Not sure where that took place either. It looked like Michigan. But again, as always, I say, folks, tell us where you're hiking, where you're finishing, where you're starting, where you got your 100 miles, so we can share it. Because if it looks like Ohio, I ain't going to tell anybody about it. So let's give these guys a hand. Thanks a lot for enjoying the trail. And the snow has kind of slowed down the 100-mile North Country Trail hikers, but I'm sure once spring rolls around, we'll start seeing some more. And as always in December, we see gobs. All right, chapter of the month. So shake the snow out of your underwear. Let's do this. Today, we are going to be talking about my second favorite chapter of all time. That is the Hiawatha Shore to Shore section, and that's in the Upper Peninsula. It starts at the south end of the Mackinac Bridge, winds through Strait St. Sparks, St. Ignace, heads up into the Hiawatha, passes through Tequamanon before turning north towards Whitefish Bay and the mouth of the Two-Hearted River. And this is more than 100-mile long trail, and you won't pass a single commercial establishment, just rustic campgrounds and quiet northern forests. And it's got everything from clear cuts to bogs, from marshes to sand dunes. So it is well marked, it is well maintained, and is cared with Gentle Care by the Shorter Shore chapter. They have a volunteer group that organizes hikes. They do maintenance days. They do events, doing everything they can to keep the section open and welcoming. So, hey, they're in Tequaman State Park, so you can hike along the Tequaman River. This is a place in a chapter that is very open and welcoming. So they are very active. They have maintenance days and all kinds of other stuff, like I had mentioned. And their next one is 10 a.m. on February 14th. They are doing a hike at Tequaman Falls State Park. So check out their Facebook page because there are some important details, and I don't want to get them wrong. I want you to read them yourself. So head on over there and check it out. Thank you, Hiawatha Shorter Shore. They actually invited me up once to do a presentation for them. So thanks a lot, you guys. And now it is time for the Reservation Report, and it's brought to you by MichiganTrailMaps.com, home of high-quality trail maps, downloadable goodness, and the kind of detailed books that will make you the most prepared hiker in your group chat. All right, Pictured Rocks. You know what? Overall, not very much changes from last month. Looks like we had a little blip from the folks that thought you started making reservations in January, and we're kind of back to the slow crawl of reservations rolling in. So I'm going to concentrate on Memorial Day weekend for the time being, and then once that fills, I'll skip over to Independence Day weekend. But anyways, barely any backcountry sites are reserved for Memorial Day week for the entire season, and primo sites are still available for Memorial Day weekend. It is not full. It's not. It's getting close, but it's not full yet. Hurricane River, 12 Mile Beach, Beaver Creek, weekends are being snarfed up. Memorial Day weekend only has a couple of sites left, so you'll want to get on that. Grand Island, tons of space. Sylvania, tons of space. So get on it, recreation.gov. The website was working just fine when I look up this information. Now on with the state park reservations. They've been doing the 6-month rolling reservation thing for a couple of years. Gobs of availability in Porcupine Mountains. Same with Craig Lake. Same with Tequaman Falls for all the backcountry sites. And I went over to a random state park, Van Riper, which is west of Marquette. Practically empty. So few sites they've even taken up for camping there. And they have some great hiking in the area. So, I feel like either people are waiting to make the reservations or maybe they're just not going camping this year. But in any case, you still want to get on it. If you know when you're going, make your reservations. Isle Royal. The Isle Royal Queen is taking reservations. Plenty of availability. Now, here's the tricky thing. The National Park Service, the range of 3 reservations, they are available, but they're accepting them. But you won't find out about them until mid to late April when their seasonal staff returns. So I'm always puzzled why they just don't put this on recreation.gov. But if you make your reservations, you're going to have to cross your fingers. Now, I think you're going to get what you want because it typically doesn't fill, but it's just something to think about. And if you think of the seaplane, you got to call them up and chat with them because it is a seaplane. Rock Harbor Lodge, book solid for 2026. So there you have it. If you wait till the last minute to book your trip, you might end up hiking from the parking lot to the outhouse and back. So don't be that person. Book now, hike happy. We'll see you on the trail, preferably not in your car. And some events here. Outdoorama is coming up in a couple weeks, February 19th through the 22nd, and that is a suburban collection showplace in Novi. Presenter schedule has not been released yet. So the next one after that, Quiet Adventure Symposium. It's one day, February 28th. That is a Saturday. MSU Farm Bureau Pavilion, East Lansing. And again, presenter schedule is not released yet. And then there's Canoecopia, March 13th through the 15th. And that one's in Madison, Wisconsin at the Alliant Energy Center. It's an awesome show. If you ever can make it, I would go. It's a bucket list going to Canoecopia if you're an outdoors person. So there you go with some of the events that are coming up. And the weather report. And again, I'll keep it simple. It's winter. There is snow. It's cold. Get out and enjoy. Because, we have these cruddy winters every once in a while, and they, don't cooperate, and it's nice to have one where it does cooperate. So there you go. Get out there and enjoy the snow and such. And, I think the music just started. There it is. Yeah, how about that? Gotta love technology, folks. All right. I hope you're enjoying the content. And we're also on Instagram, YouTube, and now the Substack is up and running again. And, I cross-post the Michigan Trails Report Facebook page, so, you can find all your links there. And, yeah, I'm not on TikTok. I don't want to rot your brain or mine, so don't even look there. And I always mention this every month. I get more and more listeners every month. We're into thousands, which is really cool, but less than 10% of you now are actual subscribers. So, if you don't mind, please subscribe. Otherwise, if you don't, I'm going to sneak into your house and I'm going to pull the steel shank out of your heavy-duty hiking boots. And keep in mind, you get the podcast as soon as it's released versus waiting for me to remember to post it on social media. And some of the stuff is timely information. Thanks again to Hiker Hostel Retreat and Germ Fast. Thank you, Adam, for the bumper music. Thank you to everyone who's purchased a book in the past year. You can buy them at Amazon or tomfunk.net. And the quote to end the show: what is worth knowing is discovered in the wilderness. That's by Lila Gifty Akita. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next month.